I must just like have a turbo loose gauge. Hello, and welcome to my podcast. I'm Naomi, and this is NJ Knits, where I talk about my knitting. This may look different to you. I have been away in a small town in the Czech Republic by a beautiful castle, which I'm hoping to go and investigate after I film this. So this is my hotel room. Not the most thrilling of backgrounds, but the light is actually really good in the window, so that's a positive thing. It's a positive thing, man. What was I going to say? I can't remember. So please do like and subscribe below. You can head over to Instagram and find me there. I am at Naomi Joy Knits, and my Ravelry is NJ Knits Podcast. I do need to update my Ravelry with my projects. It's been a week of like almost no Wi-Fi at all. So things haven't been being updated. I'm very behind on updates of all levels, so I need to get less behind on that. So today I have had, this week I've had cast-on fever. Again, the no Wi-Fi situation has meant that and also I knew it was coming. I could feel it coming. I said last week I needed to go stash diving, and I did just that at home. So I have some things to share. This is Bird and Blend chocolate digestives. It's very delicious. It's got black tea, cocoa nibs, cocoa shells, fenugreek, don't know what that is, licorice, cardamom, and natural flavouring. So very nice. I've added some milk to it. It's like milk in a biscuit. First, I'm going to show you my finished object. You've seen these for a while now, and with this finished object comes an acquisition. I got sock blockers. I went home at the weekend and said to my partner, I want to see if we have any extra spare wire coat hangers. I want to make sock blockers. And she's like, what are those? And I looked them up to show her. And in looking them up to show her, I found these on Amazon for £14. And in the past, when I'd seen sock blockers, they were like £30 for a pair. And she was just like, just buy them. So I did, and they came the next day before I left to go back to Prague. So I was really happy. They come with this little hanger. I'm not sure what this is for, but they come with a hanger, so you can hang the sock blocker, sort of hang them all on there. So that's really cute, actually. And they come in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. Ooh, and they come pre-rusted, which is great. That one's a bit on the rusty side. Anyway, so there they are. You could hang them all up on this one little hanger. It's very cute. I'm gonna leave that, and I'm very excited about it. But here's my small ones. These are some small socks, so I'm going to use the small sock blockers. And first time. I don't know why I save everything so it's a first time, so I show it to you as I do it for the first time, but something special about that to me. Save it to show you. I've never used a sock blocker before. Oh my goodness, isn't that satisfying? Wow. That is horrendously satisfying. Look, it matches the shape of my smile. Wow, folks. Strong recommendation for sock blockers. They're very fun. I've heard people say that like the wooden ones aren't smooth enough, and I could see that being the case. I suppose if you really worked the wood well and got it really nicely varnished, it wouldn't be too rough. But I mean, serious satisfaction here. Super cute. So these are my vanilla socks. I have been watching Jonathan's Days, and he goes on a lot about bind-offs and cast-ons. These are cuff down, and I used the stretchy long tail cast-on. You can see Roxanne Richardson talks about it, and it's really cool actually. It's a simple concept, but it works really well. Basically, when you do a normal long tail cast-on, you pull the stitch tight, you just make sure there's a lot of space from one stitch to the next stitch. So that makes it really, really, really stretchy. So if you do a long tail cast on and you have one stitch and it's say here and your needle's going this way, I'll use my scissors as a needle. So you do one stitch and it's here, and then you make another stitch. If you tighten it here, your stitches are going to stretch like a little bit. But if you tighten it here on the needle and there's like a running thread between the two stitches like that, when it comes off the needles, it will be way stretchier. So it's not about casting on loosely, it's about casting on and tightening the way you normally would, just having a lot of space from between stitches. And it's between, the last stitch you did and the new stitch. It's not really necessary to keep the space for the rest of the stitches. You can cluster them together once they're made, but it's about tightening them separate from one another, and that makes the long tail cast on a lot stretchier. I think it looks fine, but I kind of prefer the look of the tubular cast on, and I'll talk about that a bit later with whips. But these are these. So I've done a long tail cast on. Usually do about 12 rows of ribbing, and then I did these in 2.25 needles, and it's I would say it's either a light fingering or almost a lace weight yarn, but this is Zeliana Air, which is silk, cashmere, and brushtail possum. So it is super luxury, and then I did, I'm very non-specific. I just did some cuff until I thought it was enough. And then I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel. And then I did, again, some foot until I was trying it on my feet until it was a little bit too small for my foot, because this is for a gift for someone whose feet are a little bit smaller than mine, about half a size smaller than mine. I did my own, these aren't blocked, by the way. I've never blocked socks before. I don't know how. You would wash them and stretch them, I guess, a little bit and then put them on these and let them dry. I might do that with these, just because it might even out some of the stitches a little bit. As you see, like these little bumps, usually blocking will even that out. But yeah, I probably will do that. In fact, I think I probably meant to do that yesterday, but I forgot. Anyway, the toe is my own version of a round toe. It's just a toe that I quite liked. It looks like this. So this is that way, and then this way round. I just like the way it looks. I like that it looks almost the same on the front as it does on the side. Obviously, That's the quality of a round toe, isn't it? But it's also quite a... I talk about it a lot in the last podcast. It's quite a flat round toe, kind of. A round toe generally is done by pulling the stitches together like a hat, but I like to graft the last stitches. I do about 8 stitches that I graft together. So those are my socks, my FO. They're finished. They are absolutely gorgeous, and I'm very excited about these. By the way, I got them from a company called Ugly Monkey, Certigo Limited, and they were in Covent Garden, which is, I guess, why they came next day. But I got them through Amazon. So I've had a lot of cast-ons, but I've also had a complete surprise cast-on. I'm not sure I understand. She doesn't understand. Sometimes because I put my thingy there, when I sit, I just like press on it. When I sit with my hand like that, I press on it, and then she starts talking to me. Anyway, I promised to work on these guys, but I didn't. These are my pescatarians. I need to do this, and I just haven't. It's going to happen though, because I'm so excited to use this yarn some more. And I'm also really excited for the leftovers. I'm sure I'm going to have loads of leftovers, and when I finish these socks, I'm excited to use them in a scrappier sock project, because this yarn is just divine. It's the best yarn in the whole world. So that is that. And there's one other sock that I promised myself I would get started on this week, and I didn't. So 2 promises unfulfilled. But I have been working on my Gibson Ruffle blouse. So I finished the sleeve. I think I might have had that done last week, potentially. And these are the markers for the increases, because it's a blousey sleeve. And starts out as a very fitted shoulder, so you kind of increase to get here. And I've been doing the thing where so I've been working on the second sleeve, and I've been doing the thing where you basically transfer the marker from one sleeve to the other once you've knit that length. So these markers have been going onto this sleeve. So basically what I do, and this is very, very scientific, is I just knit for a while, and this is the new sleeves markers that have been stolen off the old sleeves markers, and once this reaches the marker, then I just take the marker off here and put it on here, and I increase. In the pattern, it doesn't have you increasing after a certain number of rows. It has you increasing after a certain distance, centimetre-wise. So, I don't know, I think that potentially gives you space to kind of, for your gauge to slightly change if it takes you a while to do a jumper and, you know, your gauge changes in the interim. Because if you're just measuring space, it's not as important to, you know, I think sometimes when you count the rows, it can end up slightly different, but if you're just kind of making sure it's about the same, comparing the sleeves, I don't know. It's all very I think there's ways to make it not perfectly identical no matter what you do, I think, which is why I run a not obstructed by perfection knit along. It was very satisfying to have these all like a little fringe down one sleeve. Now they're split up, which is kind of sad. But yes, so I've done 5 and I have 6 more to go. So I'm almost halfway done with the increases on the sleeve, and then there'll be some straight and then doing the cuff, and that'll be my sleeves done on my Gibson Ruffle blouse, which is exciting. I would be much further along with these sleeves had I not had a serious version of cast-on fever. Let me also say I'm using King Knit Global Heritage Alpaca, which I got from, if you can see that, which I got from Yarn Undyed, and it's called a 4-ply, but it's pretty much a lace weight. I mean, that's really thin. It's very much not stretchy. It feels like almost like string. This was a 250 gram cone with 1,000 meters in it. Now I thought, I'm going to make a jumper with this. I better buy 4. Again, when I buy yarn, I don't understand what's going through my mind. It should be simple math, shouldn't it? How many meters do I need? How many meters come in each cone? Divide or multiply accordingly, and that's how many I should buy. I don't know, but anyway, this is 1 cone. This is how much I still have left of the 1 cone after making the whole Gibson ruffle blouse that you saw in front of you a minute ago. Speaking of cones, this is my cone of custom woolen mills. This is their mule spun wool, and it's also very much a fingering weight, light fingering weight, and it's a single ply woolen spun, and it is colour number 5. I think I got this in a charity shop for very little. I think it was maybe 500 grams. I don't know how much was already used. I'm assuming some, because normally when you see a cone, it's like very flat, if not sort of slightly bumpy like this. And this one is ever so slightly concave. If you can see, it kind of goes in. So I'm assuming some was used, but I'm hoping it'll be enough. I'm planning to make my partner a slipover, which I'm kind of designing myself. I'll show you my notes for it. This is my little notebook that comes everywhere with me. It's a little fountain pen. I was really into bullet journaling for a while. Haven't done it in a while. I'm sure I'll come back to it though. Anyway, this is really sweet little notebook because it has these elastics, and so you just attach a small paper notebook, and when you finish with the paper notebook, you just take it out and put another one in. So this one's like, these are the ones that come with the notebook. And anyway, some stickers, a nice little ruler and graph thing. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted showing you my notebook. So this is my notes for this slipover that I'm gonna make. It's funny because it's kind of like a Japanese pattern. This is sort of how Japanese patterns look, obviously much more organized and easy to follow, but they basically just like have a chart, and they'll say like, they'll just say how many stitches is down here, and then they'll say how many centimeters you knit, and then they'll say like how much you increase and how often. So this one is like, I've written here, lose 8 knit ridges every 3rd row, basically. And that's kind of how Japanese patterns are. They'll say like decrease 1 stitch every 5 rows or something, and it'll just sort of show you, and they'll say, you know, decrease 1 stitch every 5 rows 10 times, and then it'll just say it on the pattern like that. Anyway, and then that's for the back, and then that's a little stuff about the detail of the collar. So I'm excited to start on this. I did my scrunchie gauge swatch. It's not a scrunchie yet. I thought I'd show you what it looks like when it's still a gauge swatch and before it becomes a scrunchie. Again, I made this scrunchie too small. I'm learning slowly. It's too small. It needs to be like wider to be a good scrunchie in my opinion. But anyways, so here it is. So I started out, I had an idea because of the ice yarn is a similar weight to this. I had an idea of what needle size I wanted to use because I did such an extensive gauge swatch with my my ice yarn, which is purple yarn that I did a huge gauge swatch on in previous videos. So you can see I'm doing that technique of marking what needle I used. So the 3 yarn overs means it's 3mm. And then it's really hard to see because it's dark wool, but let me find it. Oh yeah, it's almost impossible, but I basically remember there's 2 little pearl bumps. Here, and each pearl bump symbolizes 0.25 mil, so this would be 3.5 here, and that's the fabric it makes. A little bit too loose, I would say, and then here is a better done version of yarn overs, and then you can see where are the pearl bumps. Where are the pearl bumps? There should be only one. Yeah, it's so hard to see, you can't see it really. That's the pearl bump. I can feel it. Anyway, so this was 3.5 and then this was 3.25, and there's just a little bit of a difference in how, you know, the firmness of the fabric. And then because I'm going to do this jumper in ribbing at the bottom, but then the rest of it is going to be in half fisherman's rib. I'd never done that stitch before, so I did it here in the 3.25, and I liked the way that looked. And then this is the normal ribbing in 3.25. That's the half fisherman's rib there. The more, you can kind of see it's got more volume, and then the normal ribbing here. So when I turn this into a scrunchie, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to probably just crochet these 2 edges together, but I'm going to put the hairband inside first. So I'll do this, put the hairband on top of it, close it, start to crochet, and I'll just crochet, you know, slip stitch crochet all the way around until it's like that. And then the hairband, because it's not quite this big, it's a little bit smaller, we'll kind of scrunch it in a little bit, but it won't scrunch it in that much because, again, I made this a little bit too small. I'm thinking actually I might just give it a really proper good stretch out first. The other thing is with a scrunchie, thought someone was knocking. It's very important to bind off super, super loosely because it's going to be stretching as much as it possibly can around the head. But I reckon this can give you at least 2 wraps. Anyway, it's fine. I'm not even going to be wearing it. I don't know why that makes it matter less. So I've started on that. I'm doing this in 2 pieces seamed, this is the ribbing. I've done a tubular cast on. It's looking quite loose, but this yarn does look a lot looser before it's blocked. It does bloom a bit when it's washed and blocked. As you can see, this looks like super crazy loose, and then this doesn't look so loose. So that's not the end of my cast-ons. When I went home, I wanted some sock yarn, so I got all my scraps, leftovers, and brought some of them home, brought some of them with me, and then I found the Thicksgiving sock pattern, which was exactly what I wanted. It's a Summer Lee Knits pattern, and I'm going to make a pair of socks for my cousin, so I wanted a thicker sort of, I wanted them to be thicker. Because it's kind of nice to knit slightly thicker, like DK, it's quicker. I haven't tried knitting DK socks, apart from those cotton Aran weight socks that I made, but I haven't tried DK wool socks. So I found the Thicksgiving socks by Summer, and I wanted to try them. It's really cool because she marls 2 fingering weights together, and she has in the pattern, if you get it, she gives you lots of tips on like how to marl them and like what kinds of effects you can get based on like what types of yarns you marl, and it's really cool. So it's not just a pattern, but it's also like a little bit of info. So I'm using leftovers from my Wool in the Gang kind of magic socks, which is blue. These are my leftovers from that. The yellow might come in there, I don't know. I had two lots of leftovers because 2 socks. This is a full lot of leftovers. This is a half lot. And then I have 2 things of, I don't even remember what kind of sock yarn this is. I've had it for so long. You can tell it's kind of like sadly sort of lost its bounce because it's been wound so tightly and sat around for years. So I think it'll be nice to match it with some very new sock yarn that's still really squishy. So here's my sock. I started it yesterday. So the top bit is this yarn marled with this blue, and then when you get to the leg, I just marled it with this yarn. So they're very similar, and hopefully just create a really subtle, interesting situation. And I'm hoping to, I can't decide, because I also have some yellow from the kind of magic socks. I also have some yellow here from this is from the Regia socks that I did for, I did those child socks, the random ball of wool I got in Canada and made child socks with. So there's 2 lots of yellow. I could potentially do like a yellow heel and then do the blue for the toes. I think this blue is only going to last for either toe or heel. So your thoughts would be appreciated. Either I just do a heel and then do the toe, so there's a cuff and a toe blue and everything else is just the same, or I do the cuff and the heel blue and I do the toe like yellow. Something about symmetry makes me want the cuff and the toe to match, and then the heel can be different maybe. So yeah, I could do something bright like pink. I think there'd be enough for 2 heels in this, or I could do yellow, but the yellows are slightly different of these 2, so I'm not sure, but it wouldn't matter too much because they'd be marled with another more bluer situation. So I just don't know. But I'm really enjoying this concept and this pattern so much. They're knit on 3.5mm needles, and they just, as you can tell, knit up really quickly. I did do the medium size for my cousin because he's quite small in his foot, and I think it should be good. It still amazes me, like, watching Jonathan's days, and a lot of people do 64 stitch cast-ons, and I'm like, 60 stitch cast-ons are like huge socks for me. They're so big, and it's not that I'm small, like probably Jonathan has like skinnier ankles than I do, so I'm just like, I must just like have a turbo loose gauge, like absolutely astoundingly loose gauge, because it's not just like, oh, interesting, that's a little smaller than mine comes out. It's like, how can your foot fit into a 64 stitch sock, and how can it looks so tight and nice? And anyway, I'm still like a little bit like, wow, over how loose I guess my gauge must be. So I was slightly worried about doing just the medium because I was worried that it'd be too small, but then I realised, oh yeah, remember Naomi, your gauge is really loose, so these definitely look, to me, they look like a good size. Anyway, like again, these were a 54 stitch sock, 54, and they fit me perfectly. That's 10 stitches less. Anyway, sorry. I'm not saying like, I'm just amazed that a gauge could be that different between different knitters. That's all I'm doing. I'm not like judging anyone. I'm just amazed at the fact that gauge can change so much from one person to another. So those are my socks that I'm working on, because I just was like itching for a plain sock, and I was like, well, if you want a plain sock, you have to get through that sock until it's plain. And then I was like, no, I want it now. And then I have a surprise cast on and a surprise acquisition. So a lovely, lovely friend from work got me this yarn. This is Angora Rabbit. Oh, it's blowing out. Angora Rabbit. CatherineAGreenwood.com. And this is extra purple chestnut, 200 yards, 2-ply sport. 40% chestnut satin Angora, which is a bunny, 50% Shetland wool, and 10% merino. And this says Cushing's dyed. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Cushing's dyed. But hey ho. The colour is amethyst, and I mean, look at that colour, guys. Look at that colour, girls. Look at that colour. It's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And it is so soft. Honestly, it is so soft. You kind of look at it and you go, yeah, that looks soft, but it also looks like it could be soft and slightly scratchy. It's not. It's pure softness. It's so soft. So this woman, look her up on like Facebook. She's got videos. She spins straight off of her bunnies. Like they sit in her lap and she just spins off of them. There are some really cool videos. Anyway, it came nicely wrapped up, and it came with this beautiful little sparkly card with some samples. And it says fancy white and red meets pearl. I love this colour. I mean, this is a beautiful colour. Thank you for your purchase from the Burrow. I hope the yarn makes for lovely crafting. Catherine G. So what a lovely little note. I don't believe I did look at the website, because my friend sent me the website and was like, do you like this? And I was like, oh, I love it. And we were just chatting about it, and I didn't realise she was going to buy me some. It's not cheap, but it's hand spun and hand dyed. So I got the Making Stories magazine, volume 6, which I don't think I talked about in acquisitions, because it was because maybe I did, but I bought it in digital form, because all my patterns are in digital form. So I still haven't read it, but I bought it for the ley lines pattern, which I was going to make, but instead I made the Carbeth. And I loved the ley lines pattern. I looked it up and I saw it was in that issue. And I like to look through magazines that things are in anyways, because sometimes I find new designers. Anyway, normally I don't buy a publication of patterns, because I have something against buying something that has patterns I don't want to make in it. I don't know why, but I just rather I'd rather spend the money on 5 patterns I specifically choose that I want to make, instead of spending it on a group of patterns of which I only want to make 2 or something. But I saw that Making Stories magazine and I thought, oh, I want to make all of these things. So I bought the magazine, and I'm really happy I did, because there's a scarf in it, and scarves are a little bit, I don't know, I feel like they're not getting as much love recently as shawls and other things. I've said before, I'm not really a scarf person, and I'm not really a shawl person. It's because I feel weighted on the back of my neck really easily, and with lots of stuff like scarves and shawls, it's coats are enough. A coat around the back of my neck, I'm just get it off me. Sometimes. So I've got to, when it's really cold, I'll use a balaclava and a beanie, and that'll keep my neck really warm and keep my head warm, but it's really light and not loads of fabric on my neck. But that's just me. Loads of people love them, and I've been really itching to make one because the sort of like the pattern and design looks really fun. You know, the shaping, that sort of triangular situation. Anyway, there's a pattern on there called. Let me look very quickly what it's called. It's called Skylines, and it is a beautiful scarf. Interestingly, it quite often refers to itself in the pattern as if you want to make the shawl bigger, and I'm like, okay, it's not a shawl, it's definitely a scarf, but that's fine. It's my feelings about the situation. Yeah, it's definitely a scarf. It's about this wide. It's very long. It's a scarf. It's not a shawl. If it was maybe this wide, I could see it being a shawl, even though it was long. Anyway, point is, doesn't matter. Point is, I got this yarn. I got 2 skeins of it, so I had 400 meters, 400 yards. Gosh, I can't explain to you how soft it is. So I cast it on, and I was so excited because I've been wanting to make it, and now I can make it, and I can give it to this friend who loves scarves. And I'm like, look, I know you didn't give this to me wanting me to make you something, but I've been wanting to make a scarf. I hate scarves. You love scarves. It's a match made in heaven. I get to play with this beautiful yarn and make a beautiful thing. So it's so cool. It starts out, you make a square, and then the scarf is diagonal. It's like pointed all the way down. It's kind of diagonal. It's like a half triangle. So this is the back of the scarf, and then the triangle continues down, and then it eventually ends in this sort of point. So this just kind of keeps going. So you do it as a square, and then you separate the sides, and you do one side and then the other. You can do 2 sides at a time, but I didn't really want to. I wanted to just do one side. Also because the annoying thing is I do have 2 balls of yarn, but I've used a lot of the first ball making this square, so I don't know how much I'm going to have. So I'm just going to finish the second ball making the one side. It's definitely not going to be as long as the pattern, but look at this beautiful square. Look how beautifully this yarn knits up. Beautiful square. I've never done these wrapped stitches before, and that is so cool. It takes a little bit of time, and when you finish you haven't done a row, so you're just like, cool. But it looks so cool, so I don't mind. Bit of a yarn over situation here. There's a nice stockinette stripe, and with this yarn it's just gorgeous. In the pattern you're meant to change colours for these, but I didn't want to. I didn't have anything to change colours to, and B, I think it looks striking enough just in the same colour. And then there's this beautiful little drop stitches situation. I've never done that before either, drop stitches. And then this is where it's separated. And you're supposed to put one side on a different needle and keep the other side on your needles, but I never do that when they say to do that, because it's like, well, it's already on a cable. Why do I need to change it to a different cable? Just knit back and forth on one side, and this will stay here. It'll be kind of annoying to show you as I go, because it'll just be all curled up the way it is now, kind of looking like an interesting beret. It's quite a cute beret, actually. Guys, might have to turn this into a beret. Might have to do this pattern again and just stop after the square and make it a beret. They missed a trick there. Anyways, now I'm at a section where I am, so this is the middle and you just keep going, but I'm doing these diagonal lines now with 1x1 cables. And this is going to go on for a little while, and then it'll change to something else. So there's loads of stripes in it, and I mean the halo on it, the softness of it, it's an actual dream to knit with. An actual dream. This is a sport weight, and the pattern is for fingering weight, so I went up a needle size because it's meant to be quite loose and soft. So I went up a needle size, 1 mil up, and obviously with my gauge, going up 1 needle size from the pattern is kind of like going up 2 needle sizes, because my gauge already adds a needle size in a weird way. This is the ball. This is what I have left of this ball. The colour is just phenomenal, isn't it? So I'm addicted to this. I can't... I'm in this beautiful place this week, and honestly, look, guys, I haven't gone outside. I've just been so addicted to knitting inside, and I need to. I'm going to go. I still have time. I've got 2 hours until I need to check out. I can go for an hour and a half long walk, come back, pack, and leave, and then go to work. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm like getting distracted. I'm like, do I have anything else? Is that all? Feels like I've been doing so many different things, but that is all. Future plans. I am going to work on those pescatarian socks, those pesky peskies. And I am going to finish another sock. I don't know if you remember this. I test knit this. And I never cast on the second one. And I feel like, because this is kind of a summery sock, I'm just like, meh. But actually, this would be a really cute Christmas sock because it's got sparkle in it. So I need to finish it for Christmas. Yeah, I'll use this as my Christmas sock. I know it's pink, but never mind. It'll be a lovely Christmas sock. These little horns. So I need to finish this. I also am really interested to see how this wears. Ooh, I could put it on my sock blocker. Guys, how exciting is this? I know you don't probably care to see something that I knit ages ago, but I just gotta keep myself honest. This might go on the medium, actually, because that's a bit sort of loosey-goosey. Although, I don't know, the medium looks quite long. Medium's a bit long. Yeah. That's not quite right, is it? Yes, so I need to get going on this. This isn't a super complicated one. It won't take me ages. I just need to cast on 160 stitches or something. And something about that is sort of keeping me from doing it for some odd reason. But I am going to do that. The other thing I'm thinking about is I have this leftover from my Maud tee, and I'm kind of considering adding it to a sock. Now, I've made socks in alpaca like this before. They're way too slouchy, but if I do that pattern again with the mold to fingering weights, and I add a fingering weights alpaca to a fingering weight, not a really stretched out one, but like a less stretched out fingering weight wool, would that make it more bouncy and more tight, less just fall down your ankle drape? Because that would be really nice. I love how soft alpaca is. It would be quite nice. And I reckon alpaca is fairly hard wearing, at least the way it's spun. It's so thick, and not thick, it's so, I don't know, so strongly spun. It feels, again, when you stretch it, it feels like you're stretching a piece of string, kind of. So that was one thing I was considering. The next cast on I'm doing, though, is I'm going to make an 1890s hat with this wool, which I spun myself from some stash fibre. I have a load more balls of it, but this is just one of the smaller balls. It's basically, I don't know, bulky or slightly like worsted, Aran weight. Maybe it's Aran weight. I'd say it's probably Aran weight. Aran weight, if not maybe slightly bulky. I'm going to do that for my dad's Christmas. So socks for my cousin's Christmas. I've already got my aunt. Oh no, I haven't. No, I haven't got my aunt. I need to make her something. I'll probably make her socks as well, maybe. Now I've got my uncle has a slipover, an Aran slipover. My cousin has a pair of jogging bottoms. My mum's got mittens and stockings and other things. My sister has a t-shirt and the terrazzo neck warmer. Does my dad have anything? I think I was thinking of making my dad some socks as well. So I'll have to scrounge through my stash to find something for him to make him socks out of. My friend received her package from my parents, the one with the Mountain Melody hats and the radish and the tiny ranunculus that I'd made for myself and decided to give to a 3-year-old instead. Yeah, that one. The 3-year-old loves her ranunculus, and my friend wants a matching one. And I was like, oh, what colour? She's like, olive green. And I was like, oh, someone's thought about this. She said she loved the sleeves, so I guess I'll make her a short sleeve one as well. She loves her radish. It fits her so well. I'm so pleased. And the baby looks so cute in his hat. I want to see a picture of Daddy and baby with hats because I haven't seen the Daddy with his hat on. But anyway, they've all got Christmas gifts already made anyway. So that's pretty much everyone. I need to make another 2, I guess, a pair of socks for my dad and one for my aunt. If I don't, I'll make her something. It'll either be that or it'll be a cowl or a hat. She'd probably like anything, really. It just, whatever I really feel like making, that's what she'll get. And then, yeah, so 2 more pairs of socks. I'm excited for that guy. Men's socks that are nice and thick and big. Oh no, I just said this is for my dad. I don't need to make him socks. I'm making him this hat. Anyway, so if you'd like to join my knit along, please do head over to Ravelry and not Ravelry. Sorry, I haven't done anything on Ravelry. I don't really feel like I need to. There's not many of us here. It's not like we really need a Ravelry group. But I mean, you know, I'm open to thoughts. If you feel like we really do need a Ravelry group, I'm happy to make one. But it feels like I get about 4 comments per video. They're manageable to chat, you know, to reply to. There's not that many of us here. Anyway, head over to my Instagram and enter into the not obstructed by perfection knit along. I think I'm going to get some, whenever I'm able to get to the yarn shop next, I'm going to get a couple gifts to send out for prizes for my knit along. And I'll probably be showing those to you at some point soon. Yeah, so head over to my Instagram, put a post up, use the hashtag not obstructed by perfection, tag me in it, Naomi Joy Knits, and let everyone know like what you're doing to not obstruct yourself by perfection. Yeah, so I hope you are doing well. That is everything I have for you. I'm gonna take this chaos and I'm going to try and deal with it. Here's your chaos cam for the day. Chaos cam. Chaos. I hope you're having a really good week or weekend, and I hope that you've had some tea. I forgot all about my tea. Anyways, have a lovely time with your crafting. Say hello to your needles and or hooks from me. I don't know why I just said that. But anyways, I hope you get some lovely time to yourself and get a little recharge and enjoy your crafting this week. See you later.